Child sexual abuse. What is it? And why should it be considered a social problem? In order to answer that question, we need to clearly define what sexual abuse is, as it's best to understand the problem before we try to solve it. The prevention-based organization Darkness to Light defines child sexual abuse as any sexual act between an adult and a minor or between two minors where one exerts power over the other. Forcing, coercing, or persuading a child to engage in any sexual content. This includes non-contact acts such as exhibitionism, exposure to pornography, voyeurism, and communicating in a sexual manner over the internet or phone. Just how prevalent is child sexual abuse? According to researchers at Darkness to Light, statistics show that an estimated 1 in 10 children are sexually abused before their 18th birthday. This is a staggering rate that is down from years past. Of those abused, 90% know their perpetrator, with 60% being abused by someone the family trusts and 30% being abused by family members. What is the face of sexual abuse? This type of abuse is not blatantly visible. Therefore, people may assume this can't be happening in my hometown. Definitely not in my schools, not in my neighborhood. I know my neighbors. And they deny that it could ever happen within their home. So what does it look like? Is it sad? Is it depressed? Does it blend in? Is it happiness? What about the face of an average dad? A Miss America? Or even a 3-time medalist Olympic swimmer, Margaret Holzer? How can we see the effects of sexual abuse? In reference to Brandon Steele and Helen Alexander's journal on the long-term effects of sexual abuse in childhood, there is much research that still needs to be done in order to really understand what the long-term effects are for victims of sexual abuse. Nevertheless, some of the effects and the symptoms may include increased risk of depression and anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorders, thoughts of suicide and self-harm, delinquency, decreased school performance and dropouts, increase in criminal behavior and violent offenses, and may contribute to further sexual exploitation of that individual. What have been our historic methods of prevention and intervention, and what are we currently doing today to intervene with this issue? According to Leah Mikulski, sexual abuse is one of the most historic yet underreported forms of child abuse. John Myers wrote in his article on American Child Protection that the history of child protection in America is divisible into 3 eras: colonial times to 1875, the era before organized child protection; the second, 1875 to 1962, the growth of organized child protection through non-governmental child protective services; and lastly, 1962, marking the beginning of the third, modern era, government-sponsored child protective services. Largely, governmental intervention has come through legislation. In the 1970s, the Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act was created, but it wasn't amended until the mid-1990s, and most recently has been amended and reauthorized as of December 20th, 2010. The Child Advocacy Center and Darkness to Light are both examples of non-governmental agencies working to create a trauma-informed community by fighting against sexual abuse through intervention and prevention. The Child Advocacy Center works through intervention with established law enforcement and prosecuting attorneys' offices to address the current system dealing with child sexual abuse, along with abuse and neglect. The Darkness to Light Foundation works through prevention by educating parents, families, and professionals. Referencing the characteristics stated by Eitzen and colleagues regarding the objective reality of social problems, child sexual abuse induces suffering for certain segments of the population and prevents some societal participants from developing and using their full potential.